Hello, and welcome to another episode of Quarantine Discussions. In today's episode, we talk about marriage and its consequences.
You guys already can see Satvik's trying to avoid this as much as he can.
Why we can talk. I think we can make a good biological argument about why love is a presence in a lot of
we can make the biological.
So shall I make the biological
evolutionary?
argument?
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So as a species, humans are super conflicted, right? Are we a species that is monogamous, or are we a species where we just mate with everyone we can as possible and then leave? And just, is it like a 90% of the population, or 5% of the men create 90% of the offspring?
Dude, I would argue even in animals that's not the case. The mate is chosen only based on his behavior.
Yeah, but that's mating. I'm talking about the emotions that come with it.
Right, that's the emotion, is that we're conflicted about it because we don't know, and that's why it's so so in some animals, right, like in peacocks, the female is selecting the mate totally based on sexual selection. Right, like these big feathers and whatever, but the male leaves. So the female is left to care for the child on their own. But in other, I think it's marmoset monkeys.
And penguins, the female and the male take care.
Right. So the female is picking a mate that is most closely has the best genes. Actual female.
Has the best genes that you would want to spend out.
No, it's the best. It's the mate who has the best parental care. Because then the offspring. So that's
because at the end of the day, the looks won't raise the child.
Yeah, I mean, humans are stuck in the middle between them.
No. Humans are same because look, humans are what? Humans are kind of similar because if you look at it, when it comes to choosing, obviously we're not talking about arranged marriage, but even psychologically, when you pick a partner, you want them to be smart, you want them to be intelligent, you want them to have the best traits. Well, then, in back of your brain, you know that you don't want to be with them, but that emotion could sometimes overrule the love, the emotion of spending time together might overrule all that. But most of the cases, you're looking for a partner that has those traits, because due to competition, that you can just find another partner. Although this might seem very.
If that was true, then male humans would be indistinguishable from female humans, because female humans would just keep picking male humans that were closest to female, because obviously
not closest to female.
Yeah, it's
closest to their expectation of their offsprings.
Which is
guys, I think we have to understand for a second that it's not just simply by analytically choosing who is the best male or something. It's not necessarily how it happens. It's a multitude of factors that goes into who chooses what. We can't look at this as if these are two birds that are mating. We can't look at this from a strict analytical point of view. There are many different factors from different types of cultures people come from and stuff like that. This is we won't be able to find, I think, a necessarily big conclusion unless, for example, the people that find out, for example, what types of things are generally attractive. Are differ between different types of cultures, or where some things are focused on and some things are not focused on. In the same way, different types of behaviors. So I think it's a little bit reductive to say a female picks a male in human society and these types of very analytical terms. We can't be this reductive. I think that it depends on multitudes of factors and variables. So we can't come to a conclusion that quickly.
Right. I'm not being reductive. What I'm saying is this in the realm of behavioral evolution, this dichotomy exists, and this one thing creates a lot of conflict among many other things. But this is one reason why humans feel so conflicted about it, because we don't know where we are on that one scale.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Jay, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we're just looking at this purely at a from a scientific point of view.
Yeah, so present another view.
I mean, I don't know,
Oh yeah, like soulmates, like you're destined to be with one another.
Okay, you can calm down, man.
That's all bullshit.
No,
I know. Maybe.
I mean, how you can
wouldn't-
feel that way can be psychologically and scientifically deduced. If you see somebody that you know is going to treat you well, you're going to maybe project, okay, they treat me well, they're probably going to treat my offspring well. That's probably going to be very an indirect.
As an institution, marriage is used to control people and get the government involved in your personal relationships and allow the government greater control over your life.
That's that's not. I don't think.
Yeah,
I would argue that
it could be.
Why does anyone need to get married?
Like, so why do
you can't not get married?
Yeah, you can. You don't have to get married. Why don't you just stay with a person? And one day, if you don't like them anymore, you don't like them.
Like, wait, isn't that like Mr. Win?
Yeah.
Like his
chill out, dude. Chill out. This is gonna go.
Why isn't it? Isn't it more? Okay, look. Isn't it more valuable to have someone say, "Today I want to spend time with you," rather than, "Oh, I'm obligated to spend." Isn't it more valuable that they're choosing to spend time with you?
There's a lot of religious speculations about staying with
But
one
don't you
person.
marry someone because you want to spend more time with them?
Yeah, marriage should still be a choice.
Not necessarily, because I think we have to come with this with a degree of nuance. Because, for example, people have arranged marriages, or remember in the past, arranged marriages used to be the norm, especially for kings and queens. Marriage was not about love or affection.
Oh,
yeah.
It
was about gaining political power. It was about forming treaties and peace and alliances with other nation states. Only in the past 150 years has romance played a part, or like actually.
So why do we keep this archaic system? This archaic system, which is used to control and pass
the
along
environment has
power.
predisposed it on us.
I think on the grounds about marriage, I think it is to some extent archaic. I don't think the concept of somebody like having a monogamous relationship and wanting to stay with them for 10, 20 years, that I have no problem with. The one thing I think you are right about, it is kind of archaic to have it like as a legal status, or to some kind of legal.
Here's an argument. I think
troublesome.
People want to stay together after marriage because they want to make sure that the offspring has an ideology that combines both of theirs. And so you don't see, like, this is quite often, but you don't see like religions intertwining between each other. You don't see a
You guys are like massacring the concept of love at this point.
There's no
I don't know about that.
Let me finish. So you don't see like religions, like a Hindu person being accepted in a Muslim family. Yeah,
I'm kind of.
I mean, that's not. Let's not get there. Like, I'm not saying not everyone, but like majority of people would believe that their religion should be dominating, so they would marry with someone that is their same religion and their offspring follows the same religion. Versus if we're two contradicting religions, you would have to compromise that, and then the person would end up
marries like that.
But you do know that.
I mean.
There's a lot of people who marry
basically my parents.
I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense because
that's my parents.
I can give you a personal example where you're talking about conflicting religions. So, in a lot of ex-Yugoslav countries, because Yugoslavia as a federation had like three main religions: so Catholics, Orthodox, and Muslims. And the thing is that in Bosnia, where most of the mixing was occurring, because for centuries these three religions had lived together, many people who had, let's say, they would have a Serb as a mother or father, and maybe a Croat as their father and mother as well. So Catholic and Orthodox. But usually their kids, they would either, one parent would allow them to teach their version, or usually their parents would just say, believe whatever you want to believe. Like, I believe in this, you believe in that, and that's it. So not that those can exist, but I get why there could be tension, especially around the world. Because again, Yugoslavia was one country, and the culture and the language were still the same. So I think you can still make arguments for people who are very culturally diverse.
I mean, I also did research into this, and apparently that relationships that have like different where like where the partners are of different religions tend to be more like stronger, because they're already starting with a major difference, So because of that,
it looks like you have some confirmation bias there, buddy.
Shut up.
No,
but like it's because
I don't get the joke.
You don't need to get it. Shut
Why
up.
are you guys excluding me? This is
No,
bullying.
no one knows what it's about.
It's okay.
Nothing. It's nothing.
Go ahead.
You guys made me lose my train of thought. So,
like the two
Different
religions, like
religions.
different religions, how you like?
yeah, different religions. It's because they already have a major difference, right? So it makes it easier for them to like sort of communicate like difficult. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But then what would their
So, like,
offspring?
let's say they have a disagreement with something, because they already have a fundamental disagreement within their religions. You know, because there's like things that a Jewish person would believe compared to a Hindu person, or like so on and so forth. Every religion has its own system of axioms, and because that difference already exists, it makes it easier for people to like for the couple to bridge any other differences that may come up, because those differences compared to their religious difference is like minor. You know what I'm trying to say?
What would their children learn? Would they learn one religion or the other?
Well, I mean, speaking from personal experience, you kind of just learn both, right?
Oh, very interesting.
Like, I guess in my case, when they had to compromise, you're like, okay, we can keep different religions, but the kids are going to be this one religion, right? So I guess that kind of went down.
That's kind of messed up, though, to push your religion on your children and like not allow them to have their own.
But the reason why was because of my grandparents, like on my dad's side, because they're still very strict. Like in Catholicism, they're just like they pray like they do a rosary like every single night. I don't understand how they do it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it though, because from what I know, and this could be different for other people's cultures, but at least many times I know, at least back in, let's say, Bosnia or other types, I don't know if this is for you guys, but many times the mother will try to instill her religion, and that will usually be the dominant one, from what I know. That could be different for many other people, but that's from what I've seen, that's what usually happens, is the mother tries to instill hers, and that becomes usually the dominant one that the child learns. But obviously that's different for many people, so I don't want to generalize.
Yeah, I think also, isn't it generally in Judaism that like if the mother's Jewish, the kids have to be Jewish?
The mother's Jewish, the kids Jewish.
I don't know, but I think I've heard that before.
No, yeah, I had a friend whose his mom was Jewish and his dad is Catholic. I think he had a bar mitzvah. He's Jewish.
What's that mean?
Yeah. I feel like you still get a general sense of morality. Your parents' morality, and they kind of just, because they're so same despite of religion, you still learn one
there's some
common
conservative
thing, you know?
religious
Like
people,
there's
right?
religions overlap in terms of messages and morals in some cases. And that's probably what your parents grew up with and loved each other for. So
right. So let's get. What does the institution of marriage prevent you from? Like if you're not married, what are you prevented from doing that if you were married? Like you could still pass down your values and everything. You don't have to be married.
I don't believe in marriage as like a real, like marriage is just to keep like a government
happy.
Yeah, but like if you just have like an agreement, like hey,
there's also some religious
you,
beliefs.
Let's just not cheat on each other and let's just have this kind of relationship. And like, for
some people, marriage could just be there so that like they feel like they're tethered to like a relationship, and that
that's not a very healthy relationship, though, is it?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not a very healthy relationship if you want to be tethered to that person, because like
that's codependency. Codependency.
I mean, it's not individualistic.
One, I don't think the necessity.
We're not independent people.
I don't think the logical the logic path you have to take is that just because they're tethered doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's only when one doesn't want to be, or one simply wants to get out of that relationship, and there arise problems.
So then the tether doesn't make any sense because it brings no benefit and it only brings negatives.
Okay, buddy. You're thinking of it from a negative point of view. That is why it only brings negatives. If you think of it from a positive point of view, there are some people there are some people who don't like not being tethered because. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna. From a personal point of view, there are some people that do not being like untethered because it makes them go nuts, and
That's your own problem, dude.
no, I'm not saying it's not. It's not. I'm just saying that like it could be other people's problem too because some people they want to feel a sense of commitment, you know.
So
For
isn't
example,
commitment? Isn't it more commitment to be like, yo, you woke up today and you decided to spend the day with me every single day for like 30 years, rather than, oh, we have a contract that we have to uphold. Otherwise, if you leave me, I have to give you half my money.
You're saying it as if like if you're married to someone, you're saying it as if like marriage is in a sense forceful. That's not what I'm saying.
It is, but it is forceful. What a part of it is not forceful?
Wait. Let's explain.
Arranged marriage could be forceful because like your parents are literally just like grouping you with like this random female or male, and like you don't even know who it is. In some cases you might meet the person, you like them, and then you say yeah sure, and then you get married to them. Other cases it's completely blind. It's like a blind date, but it's a blind marriage. That's completely forced. That is where you are obligated to stay with the person, even if you don't want to. Okay? You can't get out of it because your parents put you into that situation, and you don't want to disappoint your parents. However, when it comes to like love marriages, you marry the person because you want to marry them. You want to
my God,
spend
dude, the divorce rate in like the U.S. is like 30% or something, right? Or it's something ridiculously high. It's like arranged marriages are more.
It's much higher.
I think
arranged marriages are more successful than love marriages.
Ashwin, I think to some extent you're right about being antiquated. I also think it's in the sense that it's almost like it's a tradition that's carried down at this point. Because I don't think anybody usually thinks of it as what I talked about as kings and queens power alliances. That's not what it's used anymore, really. So people, let's say when they get married, it's usually more of a you have to get married. Well, why? Well, because it's I got married, or it's it's like a ritual. You just have to do it when you're with an individual that you want to stay.
It's kind of like a coming of age sort of thing,
right? Because even, for example, let's say let's say the person that you're with, you and them, you guys both know you want to stay in a relationship very long term. So like for the foreseeable future. For them, for example, marriage wouldn't be necessarily bad. It's just more like a, like for certificate.
It's like you're basically binding yourself.
Exactly. It's like a certificate saying, hey, yeah, we did it. Like, here's the official. Like, yeah, we're officially like, hey, we wanted to do this and now we're here. I think that you're right, Ashwin, in a sense that in some situations it can be bad because it can push people to being together who don't want to be before. But I think also in regular contexts, it's not necessarily something that bad because it's more like a legal, as I said before, like a certificate. Like, yeah, like
it's just an identification for the
relationship. Yeah, exactly. It's like you just officially, yeah, we're just together. Here's like the official.
Oh yeah, the government needs to know. The government needs to know everything about my personal life.
I feel like
the reason why like for example, in some countries, there's like they don't really have like marriage certificates, okay? Because especially like in third world countries, I doubt they have an entire system devoted to just like checking who's married to whom. But they still probably have marriage certificates have not existed for that long. Marriages existed for a long time, like even if it probably wasn't known as the same, like with the word marriages. It probably was just a ritual that they would like, for example, I know in Native American culture they would do a ritual to quote unquote bind the two souls together, which is from our point of view, it would be marriage. There was no certificates, there was nothing. It's just for these. It's not even for the government to recognize you. It's for like your family. It's for the society that you live in to recognize you within an official capacity.
Okay, wait. So what changed?
There's another argument that
shut up. What changes between when you're married and you're not married? The only difference from the day that you were
societal approval.
Yeah, it's emotion, and we all know actions that aim to create emotion are not good. You shouldn't do things to create emotion. Okay. They're superficial. They don't make sense. You shouldn't do things to create emotion.
So you're saying they're authoritarian? Like, what's the?
Boom! I just got Sati to agree with me.
Okay, no, so
Stop
I feel
making
like the reason why the government needs to get into marriages is because there may be a way that like you guys don't want it anymore, right? And if there's people are just clouded by emotion in that
You
sense,
would
like,
never
oh,
need that if you never had it in the first place. Don't you understand?
So you're
what do you
saying
mean?
that you should just
Not getting married getting married is a whole host of bad things, and in some cases it's good. Not getting married, same, you can have all the benefits without any of the bad things.
See, the argument that I would make would
so you would have a relationship with no strings attached?
No, I'm not arguing against a monogamous relationship. And as we've seen from behavioral evolution, monogamous relationships are natural and they can be sustained. I just think if you
So you're saying that the abolition of the concept of marriage is just it's so antiquated, it does more harm than good. And in the sense that the relationships that result from marriage would still be around, but wouldn't be chained up by the structure.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay, I can agree. I
okay.
can agree with that.
I guess.
Well, like my
I mean
thing
that
is
is
that
reasonable, but
if there
go
is
on.
no institution, right? If there is like, what if you're in that a relationship that there's no governmental thing towards, and you guys both build something,
Ooh,
like you and
and
your
then
partner both like contribute to something. Well, let's say
furthering
you guys
Dylan's
both live.
point.
What?
Oh, go on, Dylan.
Yeah, so like you guys both own a house. You guys both put money into working and getting a house, and then you have a kid, right? And then all of a sudden, I don't really love you anymore, right? How is like you need a system? I guess because we're not in a perfect anarchist society, we don't have a system where you can just agree to like let go
Right,
of a
but
few
like
things,
with marriage,
especially if
isn't
you have
that
kids.
system that's set up with the marriage is pretty biased against men? Isn't that what most of the male rights movements are? And I feel like you should be able to talk out and communicate amongst yourselves what exactly should happen.
Not if you're clouded by emotion, especially with
yeah.
children. You think custody is
But you
going to
can
be
still have
something good?
you can still have a legal thing for that without the government.
You can have a legal action without the government?
Yeah.
Also, guys,
How?
like
Oh shit, that sounds
okay.
retarded. Never mind.
No worries. I'm also trying to think. Like, wait, what did you mean about? I heard you said about like men's rights in marriage. What did you mean by that?
So with the current marriage system, when someone gets divorced, like the female gets the benefits. Like look at Bezos, and I mean not saying that what Bezos did was right, but like the female does get a lot of benefits from divorce and
Well,
things. And
wouldn't
then
I mean that's also because the I mean yeah, of course I agree with that it should be amended. I feel like first of all I'm gonna talk about them and how it should be amended. Like I feel like at the very least it should be considered that it should be considered about why the divorce is happening, and then that's based upon the reasoning. That is how it should be divided. I noticed that like it doesn't matter what the reason is. In most divorce cases, it's always the wife that gets most of the property and stuff.
and wait. What does the concept of divorce and what does the government's involved in property do? It makes people more willing to get on the property ladder and buy property and fuel the society with economics, right? And like have children and all this other stuff because there's a legal basis. So these big decisions are almost caused to become trivial because there's like such a big safety net. So if you take away that safety net, then maybe people will just be more thoughtful about whether they go through with these decisions in the first place.
wait, what? Wait, are you advocating for getting rid of the safety net?
Like if divorce
No,
or
I think
the government
that
get
makes
involved
sense.
thing.
But
Like
I think you're idealizing it too much. There could be a bad side to it too, like suspicion and like people could
right.
just say like, "Oh, I'm gonna be partners with you," and the next day I'm gonna be partners with someone else. I'm gonna have a child with you, and then I'm gonna have a child. Suspicion will rise, and I think it's not gonna work.
I mean, that's just human nature, right? You're
It's
going
just
to be
human nature.
I mean, people
suspicious.
are gonna
You
cheat
have to,
on each other even if they're married.
yeah,
So
people can still cheat on each other and they can have like a somewhat intact relation. I feel like, yeah, you can have, like, bad things will happen in a relationship. I think that's okay. Like, you just got to know your partner a little more. That's not why like, if you're dumb for like, going into a marriage and then coming out of it, I feel like that's on you. You have to pay the financials and feel the emotional pain of like being incompetent enough not to choose your own partner in the system where you can actually do that. Because like marriage, it's a lot of money to host a marriage, you know, like even if it's in like your backyard or something, it's still a lot to like.
Right,
And
but
why do
wouldn't
people? Why do
And divorce is
people?
even more
Ashton, wouldn't your argument be though that what Dylan was describing, like you gotta suck it up, like it's your decision to choose? Wouldn't Ashton then your argument be that the system itself, it's unfair characterization because the system itself forces him to like, what's the word, like to reap the problems that come afterwards?
I think we also need a female point of view for this because we're all talking, of course, obviously from the male point of view, and I do not, since I am not a female and none of us are, I don't know how a female would feel about like.
Okay, when does quality of life go up? When does quality of life, when you grant female rights, what is the most oppressive institution against female rights? Arranged marriage.
Yeah, so get rid of arranged marriage.
That's true.
But I mean, at the same
time, you
time,
can't because that's part of religious, and then religion will.
Right. So that's why, like, if you give females more right to marry, right to abortion, right to divorce, then all these third world, like that's what brings up the quality of life. It's shown that happened.
Yeah, and also, for example, like the studies have found that let's say for countries that don't have abortion, their abortion rates are the exact same as countries who do. It's just that now it's much more dangerous to get abortions because they're illegal. That's what the evidence shows, at least. Regardless of your opinion
going back to what you're saying,
abortion is good or not, it's just the statistics.
Yeah, but going back to what you're saying, I think I inserted a little bit too much of my own point of view, which is like, from my personal point of view, like I don't really think I would ever want kids or stuff. So like the whole custody and property thing, it's not
Vic Jr.
Like, it's not something I've really thought too much about, but that's a good point that you bring up too.
I think I would agree with you that like marriage is just like a tradition. Like even slaves back in the day, they did this, like they weren't allowed to have anything. There was a thing where they just jumped over a broom or jumped over a stick together and they were married. And that was their entire like, yeah, it was just like their entire ceremony and they just built a family off of that. You know, I feel like marriage as a legal thing, it probably shouldn't be there, but we're so ingrained in it now, we can just work to slowly chip away at the system instead of just saying, no, it's not good. We should just get rid of it in general right now.
I mean,
unfortunately, wait, let me go. Unfortunately, we have some emotional people in this system and society that will say that we need marriage simply because we need to be together and have this bond that lasts forever.
That is dangerous.
And so therefore, this system will never work because simply human behavior we can change like systems. We can't change the essence of like human behavior, which is to feel safe and to feel bonded. And that only happens when you have an understanding that my partner will be with me as long as I live. And so even though your system is ideal, it'll take a long time before we can come into it.
Yeah.
Right. Marriage as an emotional decision, though, I feel that's pretty it's pretty destructive. I mean, think about like a lot of poor people. What puts them into debt? Oh, it's because I had to get married. I had to throw my $20,000 like wedding. It's not really things they need, right? It's like these traditional institutions.
They could stay single. I mean, they could always stay single.
You'd get ostracized, and especially third world countries that are very traditional. You would get ostracized.
They would get ostracized.
Also, that doesn't solve the problem because of them being so expensive, right? Just by saying we'll stay single. Well, he's like, well, I'm already in a relationship. Like
it's like the military-industrial complex, the marriage, the wedding march complex.
Well, yeah. I mean, like even wait, what was I gonna say? No, something about like when Mussolini did like the whole battle of birth stuff, and you know when these more fascist governments try doing more stuff centered around like the traditional family, like you can incentivize marriage. You can give more subsidies to people through marriage, and even if you do get married, you can get you get legally recognized, and then you have to pay things through one household or something. And I think that's like, even in the US, people were complaining that, oh, gay people, why should they get married? It's just two bros that's gonna have have to pay less taxes. They're just faking it. Like, some people actually use that as like some kind of defense for not legalizing gay marriage.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Jay, what were you gonna say, Jay?
Yeah.
I think we cut you off a few times.
Oh, we're sorry.
Actually,
I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. But I mean, there are of course different types of marriages, as you guys said. Arranged marriages, there's civil marriages, there's religious marriages, there's valid religious, and yeah.
Do you believe in marriages for love?
What?
Do you believe in marriage for love?
Okay, so I have captions on for you guys, and I'm reading the captions, and it kind of lagged. So yes, okay. So the question was, do I believe in love marriages? Yes. Yeah, I do, because love marriages, in my opinion, marriages are more in a sense, they are more superior, I guess, to other forms of marriages, because you want to be with the person, and that is why you are proposing to. Hey, it's basically like, hey, I like you, you like me, and we both
stay with me forever.
We both want to stay together for a long, long time. Why don't we make a contract that says that we will stay together for a long, long time? And if we can void the contract, but here are the penalties if we void the contract.
Isn't that unethical towards your future self? How do you know what your future self will think? How do you know that you're doing it?
You're not staking your emotions for your future. You're staking your emotions for your future.
But then but at the same time, you don't know exactly. You don't know if it's okay. If you're looking for a career path, what do you base it upon? What you like to do?
Satisfaction.
Profitability.
Yeah, people can profit that.
I mean, yeah. When you're choosing a career, it's not just that you like it. At the end of the day, it's one that you can actually find a good job for a good pay for.
You can pay for a house, food.
You can survive.
Exactly.
For example, like the reason why I'm in computer science is because A, I like computers, and B, it's a kind of a profitable field. I did not want to go to medical field because A, I hate it with a burning passion. B, I'm queasy around other people's blood. And there's other reasons too, but those are the main reasons. So like I'm staking my entire career on the fact that I like playing with computers.
Okay, I see where you're going with this, but okay, mathematically, a career is a one-person game, but a relationship is a two-person game. And in a relationship, there could be like 3 million different two-person games going on simultaneously. It's infinitely more complex.
This is already an MMORPG. Why don't you want to have a two-player, not a second player, in a game where there's already 7 billion players?
It's not just because look. A relationship is you engaging in a game with another person, and not just one game. It's tons of games. It's like 3 or 4, and each one affects the other, and like it's all sorts of variables, and it's impossible to know how to optimize these things.
No, a marriage is not even that. It's just you joining a freaking guild with another person.
But it's not. That's so reductionist. Like that's people. So reductionist.
How do we solve this? There's a dialectic. There are two opposing forces. How does the dialectic solve itself? Find out now.
This just brings me like, I don't know if any of you guys ever watched SAO.
Yes.
Why?
But
once again, the reference is lost on
me. Season 3 is kind of.
Ashwin does not know. He has not seen the great show.
In that video game,
he must watch.
The concept of marriage exists. In the video game, okay? Why does it exist? Because in the video game, if you are married, you get certain benefits. Yes, you do. There's also negatives, but the negatives only come if you do not want to be in the marriage, or if you want to get out of it. Otherwise, there are a lot of benefits. Like especially if in old antiquated marriages, there are more negatives than there are benefits because you basically force your wife to do many things that, for example, maybe they don't want to, or maybe sometimes the wife does force the husband to do things that they don't want to. But like in from what I've seen, like in the more modern marriages, the wife and the husband do put an equal effort into things. For example, maybe the wife has a career that is outside of the societal standards that has been put for them. For example, like um one thing that we talk about a lot at school is when Miss Pickering was still around was shit, I shouldn't have brought that up. We talked about how like society believes that woman like no, not even that. Even in when we started talking about Germany, like during like the Nazism era, and then also during fascism, how like women were given these roles of being like the mother. You know, they had to provide for the children. They had to do everything for the children. They had to do everything whatever the husband says, and they basically did not have their own free will. You know, that's the antiquated concept of marriage. And from the concept of marriage that I feel that has more benefits is the more modern concept of marriage, where the wife gets to do what she wants. Like she has more freedom. She can have a career path. Um, she can have a career, like let's say she can be a doctor if she wants to be, and at the same time she can also help raise the children. It's not going to be solely her responsibility. You know, it's like a partnership. You both divide the tasks at hand equally. Back then, the tasks at hand were divided unequally. Sometimes it would be the wife that got most of the tasks. Sometimes it would be the husband that got most of the tasks. You know what I'm trying to say, guys?
Wait,
Well, I mean, like
say,
we don't live in that
equality.
Yeah,
could I say
we don't really live.
Two numbers. Divorce rate for regular marriage, 40 to 50%. Divorce rate for arranged marriage, 6.3%.
Well, I mean, I feel like since you're like forced in it, right? You might just like have to, like because it's not just because you were forced into the marriage. It's because you have to fill the expectation of like your parents and stuff.
Yeah, so basically love is a lie.
Arranged marriages,
I don't.
No.
arranged marriages, the people do end up kind of falling in love. So
because you have to remember for marriage,
it's all conditioning, guys. It's all conditioning. Condition yourself to love, to love. Condition yourself to not love. It's all conditioning.
Right.
I wouldn't even necessarily say it's conditioned. Just for example, when you said about love, I think what we have to separate here is that for me it kind of makes sense. For example, why that much amount of marriages or people go to divorce. It's because it's you know how people talk about in their first years of being together, right? Like, oh, it's so nice, you know, like they're a really good couple, they love each other. But once they start living with each other, then some problems begin. Right? Or whether they get married and they realize they just can't live together like two people. So that's why they divorced. It's not necessarily they didn't love. Like, I think love is there. It's just there's a difference between, let's say, loving an individual and being able to spend their lives for a long time.
Jay, go to your parents right now. Love each other as much as they did when they got married. Go ask them right now, and you'll find out the answer is probably not.
Wait, hold on. I just wanted to contend with.
First of all,
just
my
the
parents
point.
are very exceptional because they have stayed apart for 12 years and they're still together to this day and they still love each other a lot. So like, even though they've been
not as much as they loved in the beginning.
No, I would argue that they kind of
Maybe
than they did at the beginning because it was an arranged marriage. But what was I going to say? Alan, I wanted to argue against your point is that some relationships before the person gets married, they do move in, you know how some of those relationships are where you live.
I was just saying generally speaking. Sorry, I didn't mean to generalize.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I feel like to support, I kind of went against your point, but to like amend your point, I understand what you're trying to say. Sometimes if you get marry a person because you love them, the reason why there's a higher chance for you to divorce them is because you eventually get bored of them. You know, you may get bored of them.
What?
Maybe
like read people's minds and automatically just project that they're bored of each other. Maybe if there's a statistic of divorced couples, we can go off of that.
No, because Ashton just said like regular marriages has what 50% or something like that. What was it?
30,
40 to 50%.
40 to 50%. Like that's why I feel like regular marriages break up a lot, because get divorced a lot, because the person eventually, like, maybe they get too bored because they're used to they know this person. They've spent such a long time. But
Well,
then
there's a key word though.
so
You feel though. We don't know.
We don't know. Do we know that? Is there evidence to suggest?
Yeah.
no, I'm just
So-
bringing up
Also,
that that's the only reason.
What's apparent is that there's another statistic that 90% of people get married before the age of 50. So what's really apparent is that everyone thinks that they can beat the odds, right? Everyone thinks they're in they're not going to be in the 50% that gets divorced.
I mean, I guess, but is this indicative of something systemic about marriage itself, or is this just indicative about people realizing that they haven't found the right person
just human behavior.
to live together with?
I feel like
I think it's indicative that people don't put much thought into it, and it's almost like an unconscious decision. Like people have really stupid reasons for getting married.
I mean,
It's because it's all based on emotion, right?
no,
Yeah,
not,
an emotion. You should never
Momentary
do an action for
Stop it.
emotion. You should never do an action expecting an
I
emotion.
agree.
stop
I
it.
agree.
I'm
I
just gonna
agree, dude.
be honest.
Emotions can lead you down the insane road of.
Such a negative insight on
Go
emotion.
ahead, Jay.
Yeah, guys, but be careful. Emotion is we advise variety of things. Jay's correct. We can't just generalize. Just you can't say things because of you have to read it because of emotion. Well, wait a second.
No,
No,
not
the
just-
thing is, it's this. You once you start doing things for emotion, you start prioritizing feeling one emotion over the next. Maybe you start
Okay.
prioritizing feeling happy
True.
or not, and then you're just desiring to be happy. You'll never be happy. You're just gonna.
Okay, come on.
Be a
That's
cycle.
we're going into
It's
It's the
nihilism now,
hedonistic
guys.
treadmill. It's not nihilism. It's the
Well, wait,
hedonistic
Ashton.
treadmill.
Well, Ashton, are we just then the logical conclusion of what you're saying is that okay, well, fuck it. Then if we could, but if we then we'll screw it. Like if you can never be happy, then what's the point?
No, the logical conclusion
No,
is that
you
we
can
shouldn't
be
chase
happy.
being happy. We should try to
We
experience
shouldn't
all the emotions, and we shouldn't put one emotion at a higher level than the other. And how do we start putting emotion
It's
at a higher
always
level than the
created
other?
by the brain.
Oh, okay. Wait, guys. Wait. Expand on all of the emotions. Oh, I'm depressed. Let me expand.
I was about to say.
Let me expand.
Look, okay, if you're always gonna feel like you're failing if you're feeling depressed, you should just experience what you're experiencing. You should never put a value on it. Like I should never rank the emotions of what I want to feel. And none should be more undesirable than the others.
Telling me it is wrong for me to want to be happy?
Yes, you're never gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And it's just
Because
But what?
yeah,
What
I
if
agree. Because
you achieve?
happiness is subjective. And what
But
you're looking for.
if we have this ideology where we accept our fate that we will never be truly happy, then what's the point of fighting for something if then we can't make other people's lives
see
happier?
what you're doing. Look, what you're doing.
What?
Because if we start doing things to just facilitate events, relationships create personal meaning, right? This universe has no meaning. How do we survive? By creating personal meaning with other people. We start facilitating events to create personal meaning, but we don't start saying, I'm going to do this to facilitate an emotion.
But then again, wouldn't you being, let's say, fulfilled by what you did, doesn't it necessarily evoke a feeling of happiness? So it must be intrinsically tied to the feeling of being happy. Let's say, I don't know, learning a song for the first time on a guitar or on some instrument, and you become happy.
But isn't that
right?
Isn't
but
that
at the
only
same
momentary,
time,
of accomplishment, which is driven also, or at least exudes happiness. So
right, but if you have a meaningful relationship, you're with anything. If you have a meaningful relationship with anything, you're going to have equal amounts of happiness and sadness. You're going to be disappointed by that thing. You're going to feel resentful of that thing at times. You're going to feel extremely happy about that thing at times. The thing is, we should never prioritize one of those things over the other. Because the fact that we have that relationship is creating meaning for us.
Okay, so you're saying strictly between relationships, because I was wondering then so this is the thing that I was talking about for one of my axiomatic values is that I really can't justify, but it's a base position that I want my drive to create a better world, either in my own vicinity or otherwise, is to make people more fulfilled and happy in their lives.
Right, you can create a better world by creating more personal meaning for other people, right? Because without personal meaning, we all just, there's no reason to live, right? There's no reason to live. There's no meaning in the universe. Without personal meaning, you should just kill yourself, right? So you can create a better world by facilitating personal meaning for other people.
Wait, guys. Ashwin brought up a really good point. So it was about like the whole like part where like you shouldn't prioritize a certain emotion over others. So I agree with that. When you so that also ties back to like our whole idea about like marriages and how Ashwin said like people don't give much thought of it. When you get married to someone, or like not even get married to F marriages, when you get into a relationship with someone, or something, even if you get a freaking cat or a dog or like a pet, or like even if you get a new brother, you have to prepare yourself to not only for the happy emotions that you will get to experience, but as Ashwin said, you have to also prepare yourself for all the sad emotions. And the couples that go through both sadness and happiness together are the ones that end up lasting a very long time. The couples that prioritize happiness are the couples that die out really quickly because they prioritize that one emotion, and the moment that one emotion goes out of the picture, they're done. But the couples that are more realistic and they understand that of course there's going to be some moments of sadness, there's going to be moments of happiness, it's just a part of life, then those couples tend to last a longer time because they understand that a relationship has many benefits, but with it also it has many pros and cons. So when it comes to like starting a relationship, it's not that you like, oh, I'm going to mathematically logically analyze the pros and cons of this. You just have to prepare yourself. You have to ask yourself.
I agree with that. Okay.
You have to lose your ego, right? You have to lose your ego because if you have an ego, you're going to be like, oh, I'm emotionally winning in this relationship, right? Because I'm prioritizing being happy or something. Like you just have to completely lose your ego and realize and be completely open to the fact that the other person might hurt you like terribly, right?
Before saying anything, I would just like to say that I think Kierkegaard argued this, that everyone loves someone else because they would love themselves first. We love others because we want to bring because we want to bring happiness to ourselves, and therefore love for others is intrinsically love for yourself. So therefore, if you want to be truly altruistic and selfless, arranged marriage is the best option. And therefore that is the only way to be truly selfless and truly make someone happy. Or in the other ways, if you're in a relationship, you'll always be looking for pleasure for yourself. Giving pleasure to someone else intrinsically gives pleasure to yourself.
Leave.
Well, I mean, like, I feel, yeah, you want to like be open to different emotions that you're gonna feel, but you don't want to be in a relationship where you like have to like
where you are
not be yourself. Like you feel like you're forced yourself, like marriage. Like sometimes when you feel like you have to love this person because of a contract, because of like outside tradition.
My friend, you can always condition yourself.
Yeah, but is that like, no matter what why would you want to do
fear that? And anxiety, suffering only lasts for a while. You can after that you can condition yourself. No matter what. You can
condition yourself.
Even though in the worst condition.
Yeah, I don't want to force conditioning on other people though if they don't want it, especially if that's not
on yourself either. You want to live life. You want to live a life where you aren't forced to condition yourself to meet the other person's need. You want to live a life where you get to be you without the conditioning side of it. Why is your answer to?
But then you're just being egoistic.
Oh, you can just condition yourself.
Yeah, I can condition myself to like being whipped or something. I can condition myself to like putting my hand in hot water. Is that healthy for myself? No.
Well, we're talking about relationship. That's not that.
No, but you can condition yourself to anything. That's your physical body. You can condition yourself to anything.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Reinforcement, yeah.
Tavik, you're still harming your mentality if you condition yourself into a relationship that you don't even want to be in.
You're literally just Pavlov's dog at that point. If you're just conditioning yourself based on emotional value or something, I mean, how are you not being Pavlov's dog?
Condition ourselves to likes and dislikes, and then we believe that those likes and dislikes are our own likes and dislikes.
Right. You hear the bell and you start salivating. You hear the word arranged marriage and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna slobber all over my shirt.
Oh yeah, now you're just now you're the one who's falling to him, aren't you?
I'm injecting some lightheartedness into this conversation.
Lightheartedness?
But But my point is that no matter what you do, if you're looking for a relationship, you're always looking for self-love. It's always self-love. No matter what you think, intrinsically in your own mind, you're looking for self-love.
I don't agree with that.
No, because you could be you're bringing personal meaning to the other person as well. So it's both.
Yes.
You want to bring personal meaning to yourself and to another person.
Also, you should know this about me very well. For me, when it comes to having a relationship, it has nothing to do with my self-love. And I feel like a lot of people can agree with that. A lot of people have difficulty loving themselves.
See,
and even beyond,
if you can't love yourself, you'll never love another person, because then you feel like you don't deserve any personal meaning in your life.
I personally do not agree with that. I'm not gonna.
You do not agree with that?
But I don't agree with that because it's happened to me before, and I didn't love myself.
Yeah, well, I feel like in order to love somebody in a
I think
more,
we got to conclude this. It's going over an hour, I think. You have to conclude this. Go ahead, Dylan, and we can conclude this.
Like, I feel like in order to love somebody else well, you must love yourself. Like, before you love others, you have to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, then you've attached too much meaning to the other person. And you're like, oh, this person's so much better than me. They might leave me. You attach your meaning onto them. If you can attach your meaning towards yourself first, and then aim to give somebody else a meaning for you, and give like the opposite to them, then that builds a more healthy and constructive relationship in the long run.
Basically, Dylan just said no simping in a very knowledgeable way.
Yeah, love yourself first. Don't go out chase after people in order for favors. That's not loving yourself.
Yeah, that is just like, you know what? I'm not gonna say it. That'll be very appropriate. But yes, I agree with you. I think that, like, I think we can just.
Still, your what is that flexibility?
The yoga. I have to teach my mom yoga, so.
Oh God. But yeah. At the end of the day, when it comes to like relationships, there's like what's the word that Alan loves saying? Nuances. There's many nuances.
Exactly.
And there's no.
I copyright it.
Yes. The word is nuance.
Nuance, bro.
There's
nuance.
That's the word. For a relationship. For example, from Satvik's point of view, or even Ashman's, I believe, relationships are unnecessary
That's not my point of view.
To a certain extent.
Don't put a point. I say relationships are the most meaningful things in our lives, and without them, we shouldn't even be living.
Okay.
What?
I agree.
I thought it was personal meaning.
Guys, just watch my video, okay?
Oh yeah, you talked about.
I explained all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, but like Savik, I remember you always talk about like you talked about this at like when we were back at school. You would be like I'm talking about romantic relationships. I'm not talking about like relationships like every dad and all. You would always say like romantic relationships are useless. I disagree with that, and I always did disagree. The reason is because
Ashman? Is that your computer?
That's Jay. You can see him.
No, I'm on my phone.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry that my computer is taking off. Jay, continue. Continue your thought.
But like basically, I'm just trying to say that I don't feel like going to Ashman's point. I don't feel like romantic relationships are useless because it gives what did you say, personal meaning to both you as well as the person. Because there are some people in this world that feel very lost without a romantic relationship. It's very unhealthy for them as well, because as Dylan says, you have to love yourself before you love someone else, before you can love someone else. And Ashwin also said that as well. So then a romantic relationship is basically it's the most ultimate form of self-love, but at the same time it is also the most violent act you can do, because you are risking yourself, you're risking your sanity, you're risking your mentality, you're risking everything for this person that can literally just you're basically giving a gun to someone, a loaded gun to someone, and trusting them not to shoot it with you.
But you got to do it, otherwise you'll just shoot yourself.
No, you won't. You can be a celibate.
Exactly. Shut up, Salvik. Exactly.
You can live a religious, spiritual life and find meaning in life. Otherwise, too, there's
You gotta
no.
let go of your ego and accept. You gotta let go of your ego and accept being hurt by someone. You gotta accept that I
No,
can
I'll
be hurt by
accept
someone.
that, but still, the axiomatic belief is that I go into a relationship because I want pleasure, and I can't accept that.
That
It's
is
not
not
pleasure.
belief.
We just
Because
gave
my
a whole
definition,
explanation of why you would go into a relationship. Literally, my
personal,
argument is you should go into a relationship to avoid the impending truth that you could just kill yourself and get it over with.
And also, from personally speaking, I wouldn't get into a relationship just for pleasure because I once did before and that ended bad for me. I would get into a relationship because I want to understand this person and I want this person to understand me. I want someone to walk this path of life with me, so that just like
fair
when it comes
enough.
down to all of it, when it comes down to the most bedrock, the most bedrock like reason as to why I want to be in a relationship is just because I don't want to walk the rest of my life alone. Because at the end of the day, you are gonna die alone, but it would be nice to at least have someone by your side as you leave the world, you know? Or
But
at
I
least
follow philosophy that you could
someone
liberate
that
from this
put
life,
that
and
with you until you reached your
okay.
destination.
Yes, by death. You could liberate from everything by dying.
Savik, if dying,
No,
Go to be real liberation.
Wait, Satvik,
that's
you speaking?
Ashwin. That's Ashwin. I'm not talking about. I'm not
The
giving you an
best
option.
liberation is dying.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
because you're
Guys,
predisposed.
YouTube
Your confirmation
algorithm,
bias tells you
don't
that
copy
dying is not
this.
okay.
YouTube algorithm, don't copy this. We didn't say anything. Only Minecraft. Only Minecraft.
that's
I'm
why
saying it all,
No,
guys.
Minecraft,
Question everything.
Minecraft.
Question your societal values. Society tells us that it's bad to die alone. Society tells us that suicide is bad. Society tells us that
Uh,
marriage is good.
this isn't gonna go on
Society also
YouTube.
up
tells
now.
How would
Society.
it
that
monetize this
you
damn
shouldn't be
thing?
questioning
I mean,
who should do the app.
We should basically be
You have to-
Zizek. Okay? Everything is ideology. We're all eating from the trash can of ideology. We're
It's
all eating from the trash can.
it's ideology. It's
So,
ideology.
ideology.
Jesus Christ.
Your ideology.
Farewell. I gotta go soon. Peace out.
Bye, Savik.
Your
I
ideology.
think Safik's leaving.
No, but I
Okay, wait.
honestly,
Let's just do. You want to do like closing remarks?
Yeah,
Just go
let's do
around.
more.
yeah. So I'll go first. Since I have to leave. So I actually, not to be offensive, but like I actually agree with Jay. I think you kind of have to have if you have to have someone to go with you in your life because you don't want to be alone. You want to have that experience of living with someone else, sharing experience with someone else. At the same time, I follow philosophy where this life is given to liberate yourself from all suffering. And therefore, if you leave all desires, if you look at people not as if you look at people as just people who come and go, you try to understand that there is an end to everything. And so being attached to a person that is ultimately going to leave you soon, I think that traps you and that makes you fulfills your emotion, but it does not liberate you from life. It only entraps the into the worldly into the world. So I think both are right. It's up to you to decide which one is good for you. I guess some people choose to be celibate. Some people choose to be getting married or being in a relationship. In the end, it's your life. You decide. So
Okay, Alan. Anything to add?
Not really. I just think, yeah, we just had a really cool and important discussion about relationships and values and what we can get from them. Yeah, I think I'd agree with mostly everything that what we've so far summarized. I don't think I have that much to say other than really good discussion.
And nuance, right?
And nuance, don't forget it.
All right, Dylan.
And
You
Zizek.
got
And
anything?
Zizek.
I think just BTS's last album, "Love Yourself, Love Others." I guess. I also while we were talking, it's kind of off topic, but I kind of looked up the main factors associated with high risk for divorce, and it's young age, lack of education, less income, premarital childbearing, and most common reasons people give to their divorce is because of lack of commitment, too much arguing, infidelity, marrying too young, and unrealistic expectations, with no real pie chart of which one's the most. But one of the most pressing ones, the most deciding factors are abuse, infidelity, and addictions. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And yeah, this conversation about love and how there's not just a personal level, but there's also like a societal level and a traditional level to it. It was very interesting.
Ashman, your turn.
And okay. So I just keep thinking back to what Alan said previously about his he has his axiomatic belief. And I think my axiomatic belief is very similar to that, but what I believe is we each have some value associated with our life, and we should never try to obtain more value for ourselves by diminishing the value of another person. And this sort of senseless commodification of the value of life is really personified by the institutions of marriage and emotional decisions and all these other things, where one person is trying to increase the value of their life through emotion by usually diminishing the value of someone else's life. And that just, it seems to me, you can never be fulfilled living that way.
Also, one more thing before you stop it. I think the definition of love should be not to be entrapped, but to liberate. So, like when you're with someone in a relationship, you shouldn't feel like you're. I said arranged marriages are better, but then I take that back because that kind of doesn't make sense that you're forcing yourself and trying to liberate. So yeah, that was my bad. But you should be in a relationship that makes you free, that doesn't entrap you, that allows you to be yourself, and that allows you to do what you want in life. But in general, I'm just saying most relationships end up conforming. People conform for one another. People do things for their partners because it's just I think perfect match. It's very hard to find perfect match. So that's why I think that's where the paradox comes in. So just try to live your life and don't allow others to conform. Don't conform it for someone else, even though that might seem egotistical. But I think in the end, it's like if love is entrapping you, then it's not true love.
Wholesome.
And Jay, I hope we didn't shit all over your worldview, Jay. How do you feel after that?
So after that entire conversation, I feel very enlightened, and I loved hearing from all of your points. And I'm sorry if I stomped on them. It's just my habit. But I agree with the overall message that Salvik was trying to end off with about how you should when it comes down to it, the bare bones reasoning behind why relationships exist is because you just want to walk the path of life with someone else, and you want to walk the path of life with someone who allows you to feel the liberation from life without having to experience death, basically. And that's what it all comes down to. You want to feel free in your life without having to give it up, and that's
a pretty good conclusion.
That's what I feel like.
I agree.
Of relationships are, and those those really messed up relationships where people slowly get into it just because this person makes them feel good. That's the reason why those relationships don't last long, is because as soon as that feel good is gone, that spark is as soon as that's gone, that's it. They're done. They're not looking for someone to walk the path with them. They're looking for someone to give them a ride, give them a quick ride to the next bus stop or something. And when it comes to true, when you're looking for a true relationship, you're looking for someone to walk with you, not to just give you a quick ride to the next bus stop, or not for something that's very short term.